Sound off.
Rated T14.
Does young people even need a voice in this community? What can the community expect from this show?
I am my brother's keeper. We got to be responsible for each other.
It's okay to be different. Building stronger communities by helping the rest of our community really make it and achieve their dreams.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's go!
Good morning, Horry and Georgetown counties. Welcome back to Sound Off. And this morning we're Sound Off in the street, and I am so excited. I saw my former workout buddy, Mr. Tim Hill. We're at Collins Park, and Tim, on this morning we're talking about what is stereotype, and have you experienced any stereotypical comments? What would you have to say about that, my friend?
Why do rich people think they're better than poor people?
Whoa, what was that again, Tim?
Why do rich people think they're better than poor people?
That's the kind to make you go, Okay, that's a good comment. Now, on the Sound Off, you have to give a shout out. So I want you to think really, 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 really hard and think about some of the people you really adore or like and give them a shout out.
I'd like to give a shout out to God.
Oh, how nice is that? What about your baby?
And my daughter, Sophie.
What's your name?
Sophia and Hill.
What's your name again?
Sophia and Hill.
And what's your mommy's name?
Johnny.
Very good. Thank you so much, my friend Tim.
You know?
Now unless you start throwing them signs up, then I'll get a little bit concerned.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going back to Tanisha. No, Brandon. I'm going back to my Brandon. Now, would you, if I would ask you, how would you answer? Would you say that prejudice and stereotyping is pretty much hand in hand, or do you think that's two different things?
Stereotypes, people will laugh at them. It's kind of funny, but we just joking. Now, when you throw a lot of stereotypes out there to where you're trying to be hateful and you see that prejudice side come out, that's where people get a little angry. Now, I'm going to not say they go hand in hand. I'm going to say they separate.
Okay, here, listen to this, and then I'm coming to you, Michelle. Clean it up. Stereotypes are assumptions we make about an entire group based on observation of some members. We attribute observations to all members of the group, whether it applies to them or not. So that's kind of close with being prejudiced. You understand what I'm saying? Assuming that a certain race of people are all like that because Brandon is like that. So you kind of they brothers and sisters in my opinion. Does that make sense? It's really, and a lot of people do assume. Why? Let me ask you this, Brandon. Now, I might be guilty of this, so I'm going to repent. Why, just looking at your physical features, I would assume that you are Hispanic? And that had nothing to do with prejudice, but you understand? Is that not stereotyping?
Yeah, that kind of is stereotyping.
Okay, are you?
No, I'm
okay,
not.
See, I thought you were. Okay, what's your nationality?
I'm actually mixed with white and Indian.
Okay. All right, but I assumed that you were mixed with.
I thought he was.
Yeah,
black.
exactly. Okay, see,
black in
stereotype. See, y'all is being all stereotyping people.
I actually thought you did have some black in you because you look it.
Most
I
mixed
did
people
too, but
have
that's another
black
story,
in them.
so
I'm not trying to say that's what happens every time, but 9 times.
Well, just because you got black in you.
Don't
talk for, see, look, what is that thing? Making assumptions about an entire group. I'm just messing. I'm just playing.
Break it down.
Once again, you're listening to Sound Off in the Street, and I'm going to throw it over to my good friend, my team member, Tanisha. What do you have for me, sweetie?
Good morning, guys. I am here with
Deborah Rogers.
Now, Miss Deborah, our topic this morning is stereotypes. Can you think of any? Do you know any stereotypes? Did you know any?
There's a lot of stereotypes. There's lots of different kinds of stereotypes. People are stereotyped because of their weight, because of their size, because of their color, because of their age, and it's just a lot of it.
Okay. Well, can you think of any particular?
Well, you have people there's a group of people that at one time or another people thought that if you drove a vehicle that was a nice SUV or something like that, and you had rims on it that, and if you were a young black female and had decided to grow your hair out in locks or braids or whatever, you were automatically assumed to be a drug dealer because you fit that category. Some people just like wearing their hair long in braids, and as long as it's neat, there's nothing wrong with it. And just because you can afford to drive a vehicle and put 22 rims on it because you like the way it looks, doesn't mean that you're a drug dealer.
Now, on We Sound Off, we like to give out shout-outs. So is there any shout-outs you would like to give?
I'd like to give a shout out to all of the employees of Citizens Against Spouse Abuse.
Okay, thank you. Now I'm going to throw it back to the studio.
That brings me to asking you, Miss Michelle, do you think there is a difference between being prejudiced and somebody just stereotyping every single day?
Well, like you said before we went to break, you said you think they're like brother and sisters. Well, I think they're more like distant cousins.
Okay, all right.
Because I think right now we're confusing racism and prejudice.
Okay.
Because there is a big difference. Because when you say prejudice, you're looking at one person and like in a certain way and how you feel about that one person. So you automatically make assumptions about that one person and contribute it. Racism, you're looking at a whole big entire race. Like,
you know what? No. The good thing is it's not a right or wrong answer. I just wanted your opinion. But now remember, sometimes we stereotype the entire group based on the observation of one, could be an individual in the group. We assume that the entire group is crazy because about 2, 4, 7, 8 people acting crazy. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm asking you, so the good thing about being on Sound Off, we don't judge, and we're not, and I'm going to say, Michelle, what you saying? You sound slow, but at any rate, that's good. Okay, anybody, are you done, or you want to say a little more about that?
Let's see what the people in the streets got to say.
I agree.
Guys, you are listening to Sound Off. Now I'm going to send to my team member, Aria.
Hi, we're live with Sound Off, and I am Aria Brantley. I'm here with Amber, and we're going to be talking about stereotypes. So, Amber, what stereotype do you have?
I have that people from the north think that from the south that we are a lot slower.
Wow, that's a good one. So we do shout outs on Sound Off. Who do you want to give a shout out to?
To Ainer Middle School.
Okay.
And to my mama.
What's her name?
Lori.
And what a coincidence. Rion's mom. Good morning, Miss Willard. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning. How are you?
I am doing well, and I'm going to put you on the spot. This morning on Sound Off, we're in the streets and we're talking about stereotyping. But since you're an adult, I'm going to give you a little more complicated scenario to deal with. Do you think there is a difference between stereotyping and someone being prejudiced?
I believe that stereotyping is really an assumption. And if I assume something, I could do either or. I could join in because I assume that they are this type of group, or I could back away and push them away. So I don't believe that they are actually hand in hand, because prejudice, when we talk about prejudice, is when we tie in things that like hate crimes, okay, or things that when I think of prejudice, I think of something that I dislike, okay, or that I am against. Of course, both are opinionated and both are assumptions, but one says that I can go either or way. The other says prejudice is more like I detach myself from that because it's something that I don't like. But when you stereotype, I could say, well, all those is church people because they all got on long dresses. Okay. I think I'm going to hang with that crowd. So that's why I think stereotyping and prejudice is two different things.
Okay. You know what? I want y'all to give a shout out to everybody that lives in Marion County. Woo! Representing for Marion County, that was Rena Willard now, and her husband's name is Joey, so big shout out to Joey. Joey, you have a smart wife. Oh, yeah. Just need to say that. Smart wife. And so you know what? Now I'm going to put Rion on the spot. Rion, what do you have to say about the stereotyping thing?
I want to know, why does people, like, if the child doesn't look, like, maybe the parent might be, like, a different color, or they might not look like the child, but then people automatically think that, oh, that's not her mom, or that's not her dad, or that's not his, or whatever.
Now, that's a good point. Yeah. Do they assume somebody was creeping, or they?
Yeah, my mom had problems with that.
Wow,
Because,
that's good. That's good.
My oldest brother and sister, he was blonde hair and blue eye.
Okay.
And my mom has jet black hair, and she kind of looks more Hispanic than she does because her father was Hispanic. So when she would go to pick him up early from school, they would be like, "This isn't your child," and she's, "Yes, that is my child." She had to pull out a birth certificate and show that was her child because they didn't believe it because he was blonde hair and blue eyed, and she had brown eyes, black hair, and she looked Hispanic. It was like, you sure that's your child?
He just skipped 7 generations. That's all. That's normal. Let's see. Let's go back in the streets. Tanisha, who do you have with you on this morning?
Good morning, guys. And today on Sound Off, we are talking about stereotypes. And for the first time on Sound Off, we have somebody from the West Coast, from California. Sir, what is your name?
My name is Matt.
Matt. Now, can you give us any stereotypes?
Well, being from California, everybody thinks that all Californians are surfers.
Ooh, that's a good one. So here on Sound Off, we like to give out shout-outs. So do you have anybody you want to shout out?
I like to give a shout-out to my lovely wife, Shelly.
Ooh. Now I'm going to throw it back to my team member, Aria.
Okay, hey guys. I'm here with Sound Off, and we're here with
Jamie.
And I'm Aria Brantley. We're talking about stereotypes. Do you have an example of a stereotype?
People from New York City being rude.
Nice. That's a good one. Are you from New York?
Yes, I am from New York.
On Sound Off, we do shout out. So do you have a shout out? Do you want to?
Shout out to my mom and my dad up in heaven. That's about it. My mom's name's Bonnie. And my dad's name's Mike.
All right. Thank you so much. Back to you, Miss Schofield.
Brandon, you look like you have something to say. You just look like you mixing up. But you got some comments for me?
Yeah, I wonder how, like, just because someone has a blue collar job, which is basically like a hard working job, like where you're actually getting in something and doing something with your hands, and that they're not worth as much or not doing or working as hard as people with white collar jobs, people like lawyers or doctors or something like that.
Ooh, good point.
I like to put out that I used to work with concrete, and I don't know about a lot of people, but I think that's a pretty hard job, to tell you the truth.
You made good money?
Yeah, I made good money too.
Can I borrow about $4?
If I still work there, yeah, you could.
You know what? That is absolutely positively the truth. Just because you don't wear a shirt and tie don't mean you don't make money, and don't mean that you don't have any work ethic. Because I'm telling you, those are the people with the work.
Or the fact that you're smart, too.
That's right, absolutely. Because I know Rena's husband is real smart. I'm just saying. Okay, Michelle, you had something to say?
I wanted to piggyback on what Brandon said, because I used to stereotype too. I used to think the trash can men made minimum wage, like they made the same amount of people as McDonald's. And then come to find out, somebody that I know that, someone in their family was a trash can man, them people make actually pretty good money. I mean, it made me want to change my mind. Maybe I want to be a trash can man one day.
Trash can man.
Trash can woman.
Okay, Tanisha, represent for Turk Nice.
Shout outs to my daddy. Woo woo. But I got another one, like Asians. Why do we always assume that they're smart? Why do we assume that they know martial arts and kung fu? I mean, everybody's not a descendant of Jet Li. Like,
that's right, or Bruce Lee. That's
Bruce
right.
Lee. All right, Enter the Dragon.
That's good. Good point.
Shout out. Also, I got one. Shout out to my Asians. Shout out. And also with the Hispanics, don't always assume that they're Mexicans, because it's different. There's different ones. Like, I have a friend that's Peruvian. I also got a friend who's Dominican. Like, I don't assume. That's why if I see somebody who's Hispanic, I ask, okay, what's your nationality? I don't want to automatically assume.
Yeah, because I found out one of my friends was actually Honduran, but he looks very Mexican. I was confused. I said, "Oh, he's just Mexican." He was like, "No, I am Honduran." I was like, "Oh."
Yeah, they get touchy over there.
Sorry,
yeah,
sorry.
They get real touchy.
Yeah, you offend people when you do that, because
their whole facial expression change. They go from happy to,
yeah.
oh, my bad. I'm sorry. Didn't mean it.
Well, you're listening to Sound Off, and Sound Off is heard weekly on your favorite radio station. And on this morning, we're talking about stereotype and stereotyping, and we're out in the streets, and we'll be back. And when we come back, we want to hear from you. Now, remember, you can log on and you can become part of this conversation. Simply log on to www.wesoundoff.com. We want to hear from you, and in a few minutes, we will be out in the streets. So get ready. We're coming. I hope you're ready for some good dialogue. We are coming for you. All right, we'll be back. Sound off. Sound off.